just like to let everybody know before we start the podcast, there may be the odd swear word during Fighting on the Inside. Also, some of the subjects that we cover, especially those surrounding mental health, some people may be affected by these conversations. If you are, then you can find information and help in the show notes. But please, other than that, enjoy the show. So, another massive shout out to our big sponsor, Mangata. Any companies or small businesses, large businesses out there looking for payroll, look no further. With 20 years of UK and global payroll experience, you'll be incredibly good hands. They've got very competitive margins and very, very easy to set up for agencies and candidates. And once a candidate has been referred, they will be contacted within 30 minutes. You really can't ask for much more. So you know what to do. Go down to the description, click on their website to check them out. It's mangatapayuk.com. And thank you so much to Mangata for sponsoring this podcast. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Fighting on the Inside. As always, I want to say a massive thank you to our sponsors, Mangata, Real Power of One, and Hydrate. As you all know, all the proceeds of this podcast go to the charity Gloves Up, Knives Down, aiding them in fighting the battle against knife crime in the UK and London especially. So yeah, without those guys, we couldn't be doing what we're doing. And today is another episode I'm massively excited about. We've got the one and only Frank Bruno in the house. How are you, Frank?
Very, very well, sir. Mustn't grumble. Breathing.
Now, this is not dissing all the other guests, but this is my favourite guest. Yeah. This is my favourite guest.
You're making me blush.
Dissing them a little bit there, Joe.
There's so many else, but this is my favourite guest.
Can I just say the voice is something to behold in person? I'm not going to lie. It's you got a deep voice there, mate.
Treble, I'll take the bass off a little bit. Yeah?
Listen, Frank, it's an honour for me because my whole journey with boxing started when I was a kid. My dad had this little old tattered shoebox. It had VHS tapes and it had a lot of your fights and Mike Tyson and Lennox Lewis and the old heavyweight greats. So I grew up always picking one of the videos out and watching your fights, and I was really inspired by the sport by watching the likes of you guys.
Thank you.
So yeah, that's where it started for me. So my dad's massively jealous. He's a bit annoyed that he can't be here and meet you. But thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for inviting us.
How are you feeling?
Very well. I'm very busy at the moment, doing bits and pieces.
What is a day in the life of Frank Bruno look like these days?
You know what I mean? Sometimes getting up at 4 a.m, 5, training.
You're still training?
Yeah, twice a day.
Boxing?
Sometimes we've got 2 jobs a day, up and down the country.
Wow.
PA bits and pieces,
Gotcha.
Do you? You've got to be the UK's most famous, most popular fighter. Do you get that?
No,
Still, even now?
I don't know about that.
You don't think so?
I mean, no, you've got to duck
Like,
and dive.
I've been at shows when you, even lately, you'd go at shows
Right.
and 20,000 people will start shouting, Bruno! That don't happen to nobody.
Okay.
That don't happen to nobody. I'm thinking, how long you been retired now? How long has it been?
26, 25 years, yeah.
They don't even get that in America.
Right.
They don't even get that kind of attention in America. And it's a big accolade. It's a massive
Thank you. You're
accolade.
making me blush, man.
Frank, can we ask? I want to get to know your story a little bit. How did it all start for you as a kid growing up? Sort of, what was childhood like?
I was 8 when I remembered when I went down to the first boxing club, the Elsfield Boxing Club in Wandsworth, and I got beaten up by a policeman. And the next day I came back to get beaten up again, and then I started holding myself, and I got involved with a junior fight when I was about 10, but I got expelled when I was 12. I went to Borstal when I was 12 to 16, and it all started when I finished.
Was you a big lad at 8 years old?
Yeah, big lad, yeah.
So for a man to beat you up, you're a big unit.
Big, but you can be big, but the guy had seasoned in his experience, and he's a southpaw, and the southpaw is very difficult guys to fight.
Why did you keep coming back?
I wanted more. The more he beat me up, the more I wanted to go there and get my own back on him.
What made you go in the gym first? Did you get in a lot of street fights as a kid? Did you get in trouble?
A couple of street fights here and there. I got threatened by one of the dads, if I touch his son again, he's going to kill me. But yeah, I got in quite a few street fights. But I was big for my age, and I was young and easy target. But I had a bigger brother that came over from Jamaica, and he looked after me and kept me away from trouble.
Who was it that got you in the gym, yourself, or was it family?
My dad bought me my first pair of boxing gloves, but it's my dad who got me first going in there. He always wanted the boy.
So how did you find it then? So you're saying that you loved it, you wanted to come back for more. Was there no nerves for you as a kid then when you
Very
first
nervous,
sparring?
very nervous when you first sparring. Your nerves go. You're a bit. Not your bottle goes, but
Yeah.
you test your bottle with your heart beating fast and got your pair of gloves on. You don't know who you got in front of him.
Yeah.
In front of me, anyway.
Yeah. Did you so I mean, this is a question we like to ask because I think it starts off this journey very well. As young Frank Bruno, what did being tough mean to you?
Being tough. I think I went through a different era when there were sticks guys and we had sounds and thought we was tough, wearing all different sovereigns with a mug and dove and chain and whatever. It was a good old age, but they got caught. I never got caught. They were doing some different things, but I thought very smart before I done anything because my mum was very, very serious. My dad was more serious than my mum. If I done anything funny, they would beat me with a belt and postpone me going outside the door. But yeah, it's a good and tough upbringing, but I ain't got a criminal record.
When I was at the gym, to me it was like a second home. That's where I made my friends.
Yeah.
That's where I felt most comfortable, apart from at home. Was your gym like that as well? Was that where all your friends were?
Oh, amateurs, it was that your friends were. I was a sparring partner for Lottie Mawali and John Conte. Was,
Wow.
you know what I mean, at the gym at that time, so I used to get beaten up. Not that I was kinky, but I had to learn the trade that way, bunk the train, go and spar for a $5, and it then beat me up in the boxing ring. But it's good for you,
So how many days a week did you train? Even though
I trained 5 days a week.
Yeah.
I trained quite a lot. I was very persistent when I trained and just wanted to get super fit. I wasn't skillful, but going in there like not an animal, but going in there and just you or him or you or me.
So maybe that steady determination, that mindset of not giving up, walking into the gym the first time and thinking, I want some more of this, I'm coming back.
Yeah.
Then thinking, he's back again.
Yeah.
And then you go into the gym, you're getting paid a $5 to get beat up.
Yeah,
and you think,
yeah,
and you're back again. Is it something about you to think, I can't give up? I've got to.
It's not to give up, but I wanted to learn the trade. I didn't have many amateur fights. I had 21 amateur fights. So I had to learn the trade, fast track me, like going down to the professional gym and learning the art of boxing.
Was you like me academically at school? I wasn't very good at all.
You can't be no worse than me. I'm dyslexic, so I suffered a lot. Like when you're dyslexic, you sort of like aggressive a little bit when someone asks you to spell a name or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, part of life.
Yeah. So when you walk into that boxing gym, for you, was it with the ambition to box? Because some people go in there for a bit of fitness, bit of training, bit of discipline, get taken in by
Mine was purely to go box.
You had ambitions early on to make it far in the sport.
Yeah, my friends were in and out of prison. Some of them are murdered. Some of them are doing all different things. But I wanted to make boxing was mine. Rugby, they share the checkout. Yeah. Football, they get good money, but boxing is one of the main sports that you can.
So there was no plan B.
No plan B at all. Just boxing, straight as boxing. That's what I wanted to do.
Wow.
I
tried all different things. Done pantomime, done bits and pieces here and there, but boxing was my main goal.
Given that story you've just said about your friends going in and out of prison, what does Frank Bruno look like without boxing?
I don't really know. I'd been a getaway driver or something like that. You know what I mean? For a bank job, or in Harrods or something like that. You know what I mean? But I don't know what I would have been. But I don't know what I would have been. I couldn't really tell you that one because I ain't got no O levels or C levels or anything like that. It's purely natural, platonic.
So that was literally the epicenter of your life, then, the boxing gym from that young age. Once you found it, you loved it, you had the ambition in the sport.
It wasn't easy. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes in boxing, your knuckles gone, your ribs gone, you get a punch in your jaw, your jaw's, you know what I mean? It's not an easy sport, but if you persevere at it, you know what I mean, and you set yourself a goal, sometimes dreams do come true, 85%.
Was it hard to step out? Because and eventually at one point, you've got your foot in Frank on the streets with the boys, and you've got your foot in the gym. Was it hard to cut that off?
It was hard in a way, but I had to cut it off because the things that they were doing, and you know what I mean, there's some serious guys out there doing things.
Was it your conscious decision, or was it a decision forced on you by your coach? And
no, it forced a bit of wise coming from the coach, but I had to make up my mind. These guys are serious guys, breaking people's houses, nicking people's purses. I'd never done that, but I couldn't see how they had the mindset to do. You know what I mean? So I had to move away definitely from that. I was hanging around people when the police was monitoring them. You know what I mean? They got 4 Rottweilers in the flat. You know what I mean? And they got all different things in there, and I shouldn't have been there. I got warned off by the police to keep away from them because they're under surveillance.
So you saw all that kind of behaviour, and you were able to make the choice yourself.
I had to get away from it. It was crazy, you know what I mean? Everybody knew what they were doing apart from themselves. You know, where they get the money from at that age. Do
you think that's a big problem nowadays on kids getting dragged into stuff because of the company they keep and the places they show up and stuff like that?
It's very nasty, you know what I mean? I think the people who send them out to sell the drugs should get a good sentence to scare them away for the youngsters, because that's all they're looking for is a quick buck. And they know if they're a certain age, under a certain age, they can get away with it. But they need to put a big chops and manners on the people who's getting involved with that.
So the team that you're probably attached to younger, when you start to be successful in their boxing, did you try and bring them along and say, come watch me fight, or did you just cut ties with them?
I tried it. All they were interested in is making their money, smoking their weed and doing whatever they want to do, you know. They had a set ways. They will get up all late at 12 o'clock in the morning or 12 o'clock in the afternoon, and I'll be sleeping all night, you know, or not sleeping all night, partying, doing whatever they're doing.
Eventually they must have said, you know what, Frank, go on. You know, they're kind of glad you made that decision to step up.
A lot of them did, yeah. They didn't think that I would get that far when I was talking about it, but I had a goal from very, very young.
To be a world champion?
Yeah, only for 5 minutes. Not you know, I mean, not Biggie Small.
Yeah.
Where did that come from? Like, why boxing? Where did that come from? Like, where did
my dad? It came from. He always wanted had girls, and he always wanted a boy, and he wanted me to do boxing.
Was he a massive fan?
Yeah, massive fan, but he didn't really say 2 words with 1 word with me. Was just cut the corners. You know what I mean? He was very serious.
And when you box, when you started boxing, who did you look up to?
I think Muhammad Ali. I used to like Bruce Lee, but Muhammad Ali was the main man, wasn't he?
Right, guys, another massive shout out to one of our sponsors. Now, I know if you're a boxing fan, you have definitely seen Wow Hydrate knocking around. These guys do an incredible range of health drinks to prop up your sporting ventures. You have the electrolyte mix in multiple different flavours to help with rehydration, and also your protein mix, which contains collagen, which will help for recovery. Now, listen, if the likes of Tyson Fury is drinking these things, then it must be a pretty good drink. But don't take it from Tyson, take it from me. Go down into the description, click wowhydrate.com and check them out and buy some for yourself. Keep going with that training with Wow Hydrate. And thanks so much to Wow Hydrate for sponsoring this podcast.
How old are you now?
Oh, too old to really mention on this. 61.
Are you 61?
61 with some VAT.
Because your inspirations are like mine, Bruce Lee, Ali. So they're the same. All right, I'm 56. 61.
Yes.
Wow. And I look at you now and I think most fighters, they'll lose that condition. They'll lose that. It became your lifestyle, training.
I had to. Even now, it's become a lifestyle. If I don't train for about a week, I get very agitated, and you got to keep it real. You know what I mean? You got to look after yourself.
Did you never? We'll jump onto your career at some point, but did you never think, I want to be a coach? I want to teach.
I wouldn't mind doing the coach because I can feel I can offer a lot in training and whatever, and it comes natural to me when you've been into boxing, and you're into fitness and whatever. You know, I was taking someone on the pads the other day and testing them, but they don't realise how tough. They think, the pads are easy, but they found it quite hard.
See, not many fighters end up being good trainers, end up being good, good coaches. Right, You know, I think I look at it now. I think unless I could give the time like Brendan Ingle gave to me, and be there 24/7, I just wouldn't do it. I remember always being in the gym. He was always there. So I think, well, I'll be cheating them
representing
doing it that way. But I know Terry Lawless was a massive inspiration for you.
Well, yeah, definitely father figure explaining you make the money today, but invest it for when you retire from boxing. Be smart. Don't go around talking gibbery, street talking and anything. conduct yourself in the right sort of way.
So I don't know if it's good fortune or good decision making, because you surround yourself with a set of people that put their arms around you to get the world out.
Yeah.
Am I right in saying that?
Yeah, definitely. You know what I mean? All the bad away from you. You know what I mean? I didn't have a PA. I got a good guy in Paul Hunter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I got a good team around me at this time in moment. I don't know how long it will last, but at the time, it's very, very powerful.
Yeah, there's not many fights that manage to still keep that infrastructure in the life. What do you miss the most?
Oh, I miss the training. You know what I mean? Getting super fit. I miss the check. But you know, just boxing itself. You know, I mean, when you watch a fight, I was watching a fight the other day, and the guy steamrolled the guy. He's heavyweight. He's only about 17. I'm not too sure if he was on Sky.
Yeah, at Matty Harris.
Light-skinned guy.
Matty
he just
Harris.
steamrolled these kids. He's 18,
Yeah.
and he had that killer instinct in him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He only had one fight I've seen fight, but he looked dangerous.
Yeah, good fighter. Good young. He's young. He's naive.
He just steamrolled the guy, his opponent. You know what I mean? Steamrolled.
Yeah.
His brother lost the fight before that. Before he.
You're talking about Moses Italma. Moses Italma, because Carroll lost before, didn't he?
Yeah. I watched that sort of. Was that on Sky?
That was Moses Italma's BT.
Oh, BT, okay.
BT, yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Strange, isn't it? BT and Sky.
No, but with you, it was at BBC or ITV.
Oh, yeah. Good
That was
old
a
days.
day.
Yeah,
That was a day. And then,
18 millions,
then Sky came along and they was thinking, more money, but nobody sees you. But they have to start somewhere. That's why when you get all these other platforms that are out there now, they've got to go through it that way. But BBC, you, Nigel, who else was BBC, ITV? Chris?
Chris was
Chris the back end of it?
ITV was with Chris, yeah.
Yeah, they were the back end of it. But you were probably kind of the first.
On BBC?
No. When I saw you, and I thought, you opened the doors for so many. Because you did an advert. Was it a Milk or Nike advert?
I don't know if it's. I must have done a Nike one because I was sponsored by.
And it was like Frankenstein.
HP.
And I'm thinking, and it wasn't the fact that. It was the fact that I saw a black fighter on TV doing an advert, an advert, and I thought he's opened the door. It's not just let's smash this door open, and then you were popping up on adverts left, right, and centre, and I think you probably inspired so many of us or people around to think, well, he can do it, and made it through. So I thought, whatever he's doing, it must be because he lives in London. that's what we thought. Up north, we thought it's because he lives in London. But you were well taken care of in regards to that.
Sometimes it's advice what someone gives you, your granddad or your grandma or your mother you listen to. They give you some tips to go on with life. You just follow them, you know?
Who would you say then out of your family there was a big inspiration to you that kept, because to turn away from, like, to make the decision like you said you made at such a young age to want to box instead of going down that route, you must have had some very good sort of advice and upbringing. Like,
my brother was one of them. George Francis is ruthless in his way of thinking about boxing. If you hurt that hand, what about that one? If your eye goes, you got the other eye. Very ruthless man, but he's right in boxing.
Good man, though.
My dad was, and my mum, she didn't like me boxing, but she knew what I had to do because with being dyslexic, hanging around with the wrong sort of like crowd, it wasn't going to be too long before the house get kicked down, and you know what I mean. I've been taken away and having the criminal record.
The dyslexia, was it? At what age was it diagnosed?
About 8, 10.
And it probably didn't get the attention it gets now, where people understand how much of an affecting factor it is.
It is a strange one, you know, when you see people on computers typing this out and you say something and they can just chuck something quick like that. But a lot of people who are dyslexic are very, very powerful people in all different ways, you know what I mean?
Did you find it tough going through school then with dyslexia? Did you experience any sort of
Borstal,
bullying or anything like that?
I got bullied at Borstal. I used to bully, but I got bullied in Borstal. Bullying, very, very nasty bullying. Was
there any positives in Borstal?
To survive, how to look after yourself, you know what I mean? And that night time, keep one eye open. That someone's coming with the baseball bat.
What age did you start boxing then? Was you boxing in Borstal?
I started 8, but I got stopped when I got to go to Borstal at 12.
All right, and for how long?
till I was about 16.
Oh, so you had to stop for 4 years. Wow. You were out of it.
Oh yeah, I come out home and back and forth, but yep.
Yeah, that's hard. That's hard.
Yeah.
The thing, so at home probably, it's to me, family and community is everything.
Yeah.
You know, so growing up, my stability was my family.
Yeah.
My stability was my community. My community was a boxing club.
Yeah.
But if you're taken out of Borstal, if you're taken out of one place to another, it's very hard to feel settled.
Yeah.
And feel comfortable at home, which I find with a lot of kids now, they just need to find a place where they feel settled to find their stability. And that's probably why we've got charities like Gloves Up, Knife Down, because it's just making people understand, I just need to feel settled somewhere. Yeah. So I suppose if you look back on your life, you'll think, I wonder if things would have been different if, I don't know, if
I think it was very, very much different if I didn't get involved with boxing.
So you got involved with boxing, that created a discipline for you that you needed. Then the success started. So when the success started, was it the crab in the bucket effect? Was everybody in the community trying to drag you down?
Horrible. And talking bad about you, you know what I mean? Making excuses and talking shit about you. But that's what comes with the jealous people.
Did it bother you, or could you cut it out?
I'll cut it out. I had to cut it. It gives you more strength, to be honest.
Yeah.
Did you learn, was you always thick-skinned?
Thick-skinned, and sometimes you put blinkers on. You have to.
And you had
if you're going to jump to everything that someone says to you, you'll be out there, you'll be locked up in prison.
And especially how Frank was, for what he was doing at that time, he was the first person that looked like him, looked like me doing it. So therefore, you're going to get it from people from your own community as well as every community. Other community. Who's this guy think he is? You know, so that must have been harder than anything else.
Some people couldn't understand how you dropped it in a different way.
Yeah.
That when your manager says, make sure that people understand what you're chatting about, who you're chatting about, and conduct yourself in the right sort of way. I'm not Moses, but I'll try and just drop it in a nice sort of way that a youngster can imitate you in a different way, black or white, you know?
What do you think's the biggest lesson that you learned from boxing? Like
discipline, looking after yourself, and trusting people is one of them. You know what I mean? Boxing is a beautiful sport, but you've got some people, if you don't read the contract right, you know what I mean? It's your fault, you know? But it's getting very, very powerful where boxers have got their own lawyers, their own people around them that can know the runnings, what goes on, you know?
You said you had good advice for investing your money and stuff.
Yeah.
Do you think there could be a lot more, I say effort, responsibility from promoters and management companies and things to implicate things like pensions?
They can do that, but they want to be paid for to do that, if you do what I'm saying. And it's sad in a way. You should have a sort of like the boxing should have a hospital or somewhere where the ex-boxers can go. The amount of money that boxers make, the amount that the British boxers will take out of it, they should take a percentage out of a fighter to save and respect the boxer, what come down hard times, you know? Because a lot of boxers go through when they're all right when they're doing well with the wife and the kids and whatever. When they retire from boxing, the hassle, what they go through, they get not heavier, they put on a lot of weight physically in their mind. They're at home, they're not in a training camp, they don't know what they're doing. They've got wives there and the kids, and everything goes. You're next thing you know, you're in for a divorce.
This is what I'm fighting for now, because the afterlife for fighters, nobody cares. So when you're in the ring and they're all cheering, go on, do it.
Best friends.
They're the best friends when the sun's out. And when the sun's in, they're gone. So what happens is, you know, when you're there, when you're boxing, it's great. When you're finished, they don't care. When you're in the hospital, when your neck's hurting, when your back's hurting, you're at home pushing the shopping trolley around Morrison's, thinking, you know what? I've not been set up for this. My job is to just fight and train. There's no aftercare where, and I'm not saying put the financial responsibility.
Washing up, the hoovering.
Yeah, but I know most people have to do it every day. They'd be thinking, well, what's wrong with that? But if you've been programmed to go to the gym every day, to train, to eat, to sleep, to box, when you come out of it, you're lost. You're like a 35, 36-year-old school leaver. So the aftercare for boxing is not there. I always said, number one, what you should do is take a percentage out of every professional boxer's purse at source and put it into a pension. That's number one. Number two, create some kind of centre where fighters can go to and talk, because we all think it's just happening to us. You think it's just me. Who can I talk to? You're aching, your memory's
the
going.
The macho thing won't allow you to talk so much.
So they need people like you and me to talk to people, to say, oh, listen to me, connect to this. This needs to be done. It's got to be done now, because there's so many bad things happening to fighters. Most fighters, when they finish their career, within the first 5 years of finishing their career, is when they hit their headlines for one thing or another. Because the mind is trying to find that fix, what they got in boxing. So you're trying to get something. It's the hardest thing.
Would this also, I mean, obviously I wouldn't experience that myself, but could it also be partly because a lot of boxers come from backgrounds where when they found the sport, it gave them something like that family, that familiarity. It got them away from a certain life. It gave them guidance and structure. And also, not only are you having the adrenaline dump of losing the routine and that, you've actually lost something that actually pulled you away from something else and gave you the guidance. All of a sudden, you're older, guidance is gone, so you're back to square one again. Is there a little bit of that?
How many times did you consider coming back when you were tired?
Well, all the time, every day I feel like every day. I've got 3 punch bags at home, man, and I said, yeah, I'm doing my thing. I'm 61 and I think I could kick their backside.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I said, that's not a dream, but sometimes you watch them, and I feel I went to the Payroll room yesterday and I come out and I felt very good. You know what I mean? But sometimes it's like a dream. It's like a feeling.
Yeah, and that's the hardest thing. The hardest thing is boxing teaches you to, I've said it before, stand at the door of a nightclub or be a coach.
Yeah.
If you don't do any of those two, where's that talent go? Where's it go? Frank's telling you, if I didn't box, I don't know what I've done. I had dyslexia, I had a bad set of friends. So that talent that you've honed yourself in for 25 years, once you don't do it anymore, what do you do with it?
Frank, can you tell us about the Frank Bruno Foundation? Because that's something, obviously, that's a big part
just
of your
hoping,
life.
like what Johnny was saying, just talking people coming down to the thing, a 12-week program that we organise, that anybody can come down there, join, talk about their problems, get over their problems, and somewhere that people couldn't just chill out,
Is this targeted at all ages?
Yeah, all ages, colour, creed, or what religion you are.
You don't have to be a sportsman or woman. Can be anybody.
Yeah, definitely. Come down there,
And where, so anybody watching this, where is it? Where is it?
It's in Northampton, Standards Barn, the boxing club in there, the Frank Bruno Foundation. You can look on the website, www.com.
And so you'd go in there, you'd speak, you'd book an appointment, speak to
Some
somebody.
people that's been locked in their house for about a year or 6 months don't want to come out. Some people are so big and whatever. Any person can come down there. You know
Can
what I
you
mean?
eat there? Can you sleep there? Can you train
You can't
there?
eat there. You can't. You can eat. You can eat there.
Yeah.
So there's all different foods. You might get some rice and peas if you're lucky. You know what I mean? But now you can come down there and chat, but you can't sleep there.
What made you start Frank Bruno Foundation? What was your goal?
I suffered a lot with mental health. I got sectioned about 6 times, and I just wanted to talk about certain different things that people of the system are giving the wrong sort of like medication to a lot of people, like I think I have been.
Was your struggles all post-boxing, or was it throughout your career as well?
I think I had a little bit of bipolar in me. I didn't know how to explain bipolar. Even when I was young and I made a little bit of money, I would be a father Christmas to my kids and get them a big presents, in one for the kids, that for the other kids, and that for the other kids. That's bipolar. That's what they say you do.
So, and then did you find, like Johnny's mentioned, did you find retiring from the sport sort of exacerbated things for you? Did you find it harder to cope?
George Francis said to me, the worst time and the hardest time is when you finish from boxing. You're going to never know what's going to hit you. I thought he was talking S word, you know what I mean? But no, it's a very, very hard thing to do when you retire from boxing, keeping yourself busy, keeping your mind active, because sometimes you can lay down there, you get depression, you don't know what the depression is around.
Into it then, yeah.
Yeah, because boxers usually run in the morning, go back to bed, get up in the afternoon, train again, and then they're there at home or wherever they are, settling down and cooling up their body, reserving their strength to go to fight the next day, you know?
It's hard to explain. It feels like something's missing. And you don't know what that's. It's like somebody's stolen the day out of the week.
Weird.
You don't know who to blame, but you know there's something missing. And that's what happens when you finish boxing. You just feel lost, but you don't know where you're lost from or two, and it's so hard to put into words to explain to people. But when I see the headlines, when I see the stuff about Frank, when I see the stuff about Kel, Nigel, Chris, all of them, I understand. I get it, because I just think this is a story that hits the headlines. There's many. My friend Harold Graham,
sad.
Sad. I mean, you just don't know. But there needs to be. Frank's foundation is so important to. But she's ahead of its time. The Boxing Board of Control should invest in things like that, and encourage things like that, and give fighters something to fall back on, or give them, if they're going to take a license fee of every fighter that fights in the UK, every manager, every promoter, anything to do with boxing, and they're going to take that fee every year. Well, then at least contribute some of that money to give something back, or create it that way. So they've got to develop. After what happened to Michael Watson, after what happened to Spencer Oliver, so each time on the medical grounds they've had to, make things better, tighten things up. They don't know until they don't know. So now on a financial aspect, they've got to think outside the box. They've got to get rid of this old school mentality.
There's a lot of that in boxing, isn't there?
Yeah, and that's it. As I said, Brendan said, at its best, it's the greatest sport in the world. At its worst, it's a dirty, rotten, prostituting game. But you see great stories like Frank. When he's up there, you think, oh my God, a family's in a home watching him box. A family's there, they're all cheering. It's just like, it's that feel good feeling. When you box for the world title, I don't know anybody that didn't watch it when you won the world title. I don't know anybody that didn't watch it. Yeah, and you could tell that relief. You start crying afterwards. I thought, good on you, man. That's such a burden to carry on your shoulders, because you're carrying everybody's emotions.
Speaking about that moment, Frank, do you have a standout highlight of your career? Is it the obvious one, the world title? Could you have like a highlight achievement that you'd put on?
All the things that I've done was an achievement. You know what I mean? I've done boxing, I've done pantomime, I've done different shows in front of the Queen, or Royal Highness. I was sitting next to Prince Charles, the King. He was future king down now. He's the King of England. I've done some nice little touches, but I just bless myself every day. Don't lose the plot. Keep it humble and keep your eye on the prize. You know what I mean? But yeah, I get condemned for doing certain different things, and people run you down for doing this. But I couldn't give a shit what they say, because if they were in my shoes, they would do the same thing. You know what I mean? I'm just ducking and diving all the time. Everybody's ducking and diving.
Who's the most famous person you met?
You.
Yes.
I love the speed of that answer. It's like you knew you were going to ask it as well.
Have you ever been starstruck by anybody though?
None at all. Not really. Sometimes you say a joke in front of the Queen, and you got to not stiffen up, but you feel like this. But it's nice that, because the school that expelled me wants me to go back there to talk to the youngsters. I think that's a privilege. What I've done, I got expelled when I was about 8. So
they dashed you out, but
now they want me to come back. But it's nice, you know what I mean, when you have done these things, but they're all in the box. You still got to be you, hold it down, and get on with what you got to do, you know?
Hello, everyone. So, for those of you that may have noticed how good myself and Johnny have been looking throughout this podcast, that's because we are donning Real. Now, they produce high-performance sportswear inspired by boxers. Boxing is as much mental as it is physical, and Real believe that it's a combination of physical and mental strength. That is where your performance potential lies. Unify body and mind to realize the power of one. Real fights for enhanced mental well-being. So whether you're a seasoned boxer or new to the sport, Real will empower you to test your limits. You can find them on Facebook and Instagram at Real Power of One, and you can find their store and their newsletter over on realpowerofone.com. And take it from me, this genuinely is some of the most comfortable and high quality sportswear that I have ever worn. So it's realpowerofone.com for sportswear inspired by boxers. And thank you so much to Real for sponsoring this podcast.
I saw your documentary with Mike Tyson.
Right, yeah.
And I thought it was really nice. How you just clicked. You just thought it was nice going down memory lane. How was that?
It was not too bad. He was in good spirits. Didn't have the hangers on with him. He said he's broke, and I'm sure he's ducking and diving trying to make some money.
He's broke and our broke are two different kind
things.
Of broke.
Yeah. But yeah, it was good going over there. It's only there, fly over, do what you got to do and fly back again.
Yeah.
It was a busy
He
time.
looked like he really liked you.
I liked him, but not in that way. You know what I mean?
No. But what I'm saying is, he wears his heart on his sleeve.
Definitely,
and you can tell.
if he didn't like you,
Yeah, and if he didn't like you,
I met him when he was 15. When I was at the Cascade Mountains, me, Mark Kayla, and Tony Adams went over there, and we met him and sitting down with him and chilling out with him.
At 15.
He was 15.
Yeah.
I wasn't 15.
Was
I
this
was
for
about
sparring
19.
or anything like that?
The sparring, yeah, definitely.
What was he like to spar at 15?
Dangerous. He came out for 2 rounds. That's he's finished.
Was it just
two
full
rounds while the other spy partners had to come in,
Yeah.
but it was good experience, you know.
How old were you then?
I was about 19, borderline 19. Yeah, I thought I was a man. Bought my first house and that, you know.
Oh wow.
So from afar, when you saw other fighters coming through, did you actually think? Because I remember being in the gym. I had 13 amateur fights. I only won 3.
Right.
So all them man that used to beat me up in the gym, and then you become world champ. Do you think, have you done that?
Yeah.
So was it the same for you when you were in the gym at one point? That policeman that beat you up. You know, did you ever come across him?
I come across him. His dad was a dustman. He used to empty out my dustbin, and his dad was a serious guy. But he went to the policeman, but awkward. So-and-so, because you're southpaw.
Yeah.
You weren't a southpaw, was you?
I did both, man.
Yeah, I know, but when the southpaw comes at you, he was just picking me off like he was painting. He's whatever, you know. But yeah, got my own back and standing there and really happy with himself.
It does make you think, because I'm quite sure you saw so many talented fighters that never made it.
But they don't want to work. You know what I mean? Lloyd Hannigan was he got where he's got to do, but they were very lazy and they didn't want to run or do nothing. The two blend very, very well, you know.
Do you see much of Lloyd these days?
I don't see him. The last time I see him was at a boxing writers, and he was there with his fur coat and I think it wasn't cool. He wanted to terrorise someone.
Sweating cops.
Oh my God! In the hot, you know what I mean? In the was it Savoy?
Yeah.
Hotel in a hot room like that. He's got a fur coat on.
Are you friends with anybody that used to fight back in the day? Now, do you move with anybody?
Michael Watson, I'll keep in contact very well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Tony Adams, I'll keep in contact, but numbers change and whatever.
What about Nigel?
Nigel, when he comes over, I have a little chat with him, but he's just 1 minute preacher. 1 minute he wants to make a return and whatever, but he's on a different trip, you know, Nigel. I like him though, Nigel, he's a good man.
Can I ask Frank, what obviously it sounds like you as a youngster had plenty of sort of ambition and guidance and work ethic and stuff, but you said some people don't want to do the work. What advice would you give to the youngsters out there now that want to get into boxing, or that maybe want to do anything but are finding it hard to sort of
dedication, keeping away from the wrong sort of like people, get a trade under your belt, you know what I mean? Speak to wise people that know it, been there, done it, got the t-shirt, and take heat, because you won't get nowhere killing somebody. You're going to have it for the rest of your life, you know what I mean? The feeling that you're going through, you know, of killing someone. You got to wake up one day and say that, what if someone done it to my brother or done it to my sister or done it to my mum? How would you feel? So it's just...
Have you got, looking back in your life now, 61 years old, you look back, what is your biggest regret and your biggest success?
I don't know, regret. I haven't got no regrets. Even I've had bad things done to me, threatened, this, that, never knows what. I haven't got no regrets. I don't have no regrets. I haven't got time. I'm 61, man.
Your highest moment? Your highest
moment was
feeling?
winning the world title. Yeah. The highest.
Was there a come down from that?
I don't know if there's a come down. I'm still coming down, and if there's a come down, you know what I mean, from that. Yeah.
Shall I tell you what I told you? I knew when Frank was big, when Trevor McDonald was reading News at 10. And after News at 10 finished, he said, "Good luck, Frank."
Yeah, cheers.
News at 10? After News at 10, we finished.
You weren't there. This was just
just before it. You were boxing for the world title.
Yeah.
And after the news has finished, at the end of the news at 10, he said, "And good luck, Frank."
So that
sweet, man.
Basically shows that the whole country is going to be watching that.
Trevor McDonald, come on.
Yeah, that's madness. And you say you exercise still? You say you train?
Yeah, I've got a gym at home. I've got 5 minutes away from my house. I've got a 24-hour gym. And I go down the Hell Farm quite a lot. You look at some of them young ladies, not young, but older ladies my age down there, different shapes and sizes. And they've got a cryo practice room, which I'm going mad at the moment, you know. You can't touch, just look. You can look. make it look, man. Yeah.
So you're training for all the right reasons.
Yeah, get my neck trained and my eyes. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, I can't ask this seriously now, but do you think exercise is a really, really big thing for people to keep their head straight? For me, if I don't train for a week, I lose.
Definitely have a little jog, try yoga, you know what I mean, Pilates, get some sort of like stimulation going mentally and physically as well.
There's a connection there, isn't there? People don't
sauna, steamer, all counts into one, you know.
Did you do the yoga and Pilates when you boxed?
I done yoga, tried to advance yoga with the rope and in a hot room and that, but it was hard. Went one day and I couldn't even move for about a week. There's different muscles you use, but yoga with the rope is evil, you know what I mean? Didn't know you had muscles.
Yeah, I went into. They had a hot yoga place in Richmond,
right?
And I was struggling.
I can't imagine.
And I wanted to leave,
but
I
thought I couldn't leave because the woman looked up. She said, "Come on, Johnny." I'm like, yeah, but it's not that easy. It's not that easy, but it was funny.
And Frank, do you? Obviously, you're going to still be a massive boxing fan. You're into the sport now. I have to ask, as a fan myself.
Right.
What's your sort of outlook on the heavyweight scene at the moment? You're a heavyweight yourself.
Very good. You know what I mean? Tyson Fury, I always thought and I always knew. I think we'd done something with Johnny on Sky. A lot of us boxers were around the table.
Yeah, I remember that.
Whatever. Everybody had their different lick and everybody had their different opinion.
Yeah.
But then I told him that Tyson Fury is going to be a force to be reckoned with.
How long ago are we talking
Nobody give me a little bit of credit for that. I told you. Look what he's doing.
Yeah. How long ago was this from that table?
That must have been about 6.
It was me,
6 years
you,
ago, okay.
Scott Welch, Lance Lewis.
Thank you.
There was somebody else.
Maybe more than six years ago.
Lance Lewis, Tyson Fury. I can't remember his name. There was
The
somebody else there.
blonde brammer.
Yeah.
Billy Wells from
yeah. But he was, and that table there, I sat around.
It was your choice then.
At that time, when I sat down, but you got to look, you got to think how Tyson Fury was, how he was at the time. I remember speaking to Emmanuel Stewart. I don't love speaking to the old boys that love talking boxing, and he told me about a story that Tyson Fury had phoned him and said, "Can I train with you?" And he said, "I don't know this kid called Tyson is." He said, yeah, whatever, just have a word with him, man. You put the phone down. The day after, he's down in Detroit, deep downtown Detroit, and his nephew
by himself.
Big
white man.
So Emmanuel's down there having a meal with his family. His nephew rang and said, "Uncle, there's a white guy here called Tyson from England. He wants to see you." So he said, "Tell him to come down." He said Tyson Fury walked in the place, got on the stage. It was just pure black people. Got on the stage, Tyson started singing, and he had him in the palm of his hand. He said, "That boy will be world champion." You know, from the
charisma and from that the
confidence.
It's not just about being a good fighter. It's about having character. Frank had character. You know, and that'll being a good fighter will get you there, but character will get you there. And that's the difference between there and there. You know, character will always make you. 61 years old, this man still gets 20,000 people shouting his name. That's never
You're making me blush, Johnny. Please.
So Frank, we got a cruiserweight sitting here. Obviously, you're a heavyweight yourself. Talking about Tyson Fury, being a massive fan of Fury and knowing that he would be a world champ. We got cruiserweight Alexander Usyk moving up, about to fight Tyson Fury. We hope. Do you not give Usyk a chance there? What do you think to that?
Usyk is a very, very good fighter. More experienced fighter than a lot of people give him credit for. Awkward so. You know what I mean? I don't know what he would have what style he would have bring to the table in Johnny's day or whatever. But he's a very good fighter. He knows how to look after himself. But I don't know if a good heavyweight knows what he's doing will pin him against the corner and give him a couple of slaps here and there and beat him. You know what I mean? Because he's very agile, and I think AJ, if he had the right head on
tactics
that night, he was listening. His brain was outside the ring.
Yeah,
but you know what I mean. I respect the guy. Don't get me wrong. He's a very good. What's his name? Usyk.
Alexander.
Alexander's a very good fighter, but I know in Johnny's day, they could have picked out a few. Even Johnny would have given him a run for his money.
But fancy him back in the day then? Do you fancy
I would have done, yeah. And you know, people don't, and you get so much stick about it when you're asked, how would you do in your day? I don't feel no way about saying, yeah, I would have beat him. I don't care if anybody says no, you won. I think I would have done. But I think I think with the fighters that are out there now, he's outstanding. What's there? He's not awkward. He's unorthodox. And Tyson Fury is unorthodox. So that's a talent on itself. He's an orthodox style. So that's why they're very hard to beat, because they'll be southpaw, they'll be orthodox, they'll step forward, they'll box defensively, offensively. So there's not many fighters there's not many true coaches left. We actually at one point now we had true coaches, true teachers. Now you got some kids that go to university, get some letters after their name and say they're a trainer. No, that
There's
don't really.
a lot of them.
Yeah,
about,
and that's where the problem lies.
Do you boys see a big difference in the fundamentals of boxing today as they were back then? Because styles are really different. I know you got the Ukrainian style with Alexander Usyk, you got your Vasily Lomachenko. It's almost boxing like I've never really seen it. Back in the day, it looked. Do you think it's changed a little bit? Do you think the game's changing? How people are taught? Would you say?
A lot of it's there. Frank had an amazing jab, but it was underrated. Massively underrated. You knock people out with a jab. Was it Jumbo Cummins?
No, not Jumbo Cummins. He knocked me out in the first round.
No, but then you hit him with a jab. You hit him, you took him and he took his eye out.
Counselling, I remember that fight.
But his jab would it would make people think, I'm out of here. I want to get out of here. So it was always a matter of time. So you always saw talent. My coach Brendan would talk about his jab. He would talk about somebody else's southpaw style, somebody else's defensive style, somebody else's effective style. Look at them. Look what they've got. Use what they look. So because if you try and copy a fighter, you're never going to be anything. But you pick goodnesses from everybody else. You know, and people just couldn't see he had a really good job because he got long arms, longer than you realise.
Like a baboon.
Yeah.
That's it.
Well, that's how it is. It's just the hardest thing.
Would you agree? I know they always say a good jab will take you around the world. That's like it really is the truth, right? And obviously, you know, Lennox and
Did you box?
I've boxed for about 10 years on and off in and out.
Amateur or professional?
I had an amateur card, never had an amateur fight, and then I had 2 kids.
For that, Frank. He's too good looking.
Well, I did have a fight eventually after having a couple of kids and getting lazy, and I just got my head jabbed off. Yeah, I eventually done a white collar fight. That was my last. But like I said, I'd always wanted to compete. But I actually did model for a while, and I never did.
See, I've
just been a huge
easy life, isn't it?
fan of it. I was too much of a tart, basically. Yeah. I was like, I want to fight, but I got a photo shoot.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Tyson Fury favourite heavyweight. If you got a pound for pound favourite today, that's current.
Pound for pound. There's
It's
quite
a weird,
a few.
Weird question, really, isn't it?
Very weird question. I've got some Americans that Tom Arab. Was it Aaron? What's his name? Top rank guy.
Bob Arum.
Bob Arum. That's got some good fighters along there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Some pound for pound guys there.
It's a toughie, but they're all over the place.
It's a weird question as well, isn't it? Because can it really be asked? Does it even make any sense, that question?
I think you know the problem is you'll see so many talented fighters, but because they haven't got that staying power, they're wasted talent. They're wasted talent.
Staying power in training, staying power as regards to fighting.
Mentally, because you can be you'll train, and all of a sudden you get a bit famous. And all of a sudden, all the girls start to turn up, all the money starts to turn up, all the cars start to turn up. Then all of a sudden they're too busy.
Yeah, sad.
You know, living the life instead of forgetting what got them there in the first place. And so you'll see, and I'm sure you can think of fighters that thought this kid's going to be it. Do you remember Mark Kaler coming through?
Yeah, I remember.
Mark Kaler,
we went to America with him. He had a lot of balls like a donkey.
Yes, that's right. This kid could fight. You know what I mean? But then Mark Kaler, he was a lads, a West Ham fan, lad. And you knew when he travelled, these boys were there with him. So I think he underachieved.
Dangerous crowd.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. But he was it. So you've got to do what Frank did. You've got to do what I did. You've got to kind of insulate yourself from everything and everybody around you if you want to succeed. People like me shouldn't have succeeded. Maybe people like Frank should have succeeded because there's so many naturally talented people out there that if they had the same work ethic, they would be like Floyd Mayweather. But unfortunately fall by the wayside. So it's hard to say this kid's going to be it because you don't know what life will throw at him on the way.
I know it's another. I hate to throw out another cheesy saying, but they say hard work beats talent when talent don't work hard.
Mm-hmm.
Would you
totally agree
with that?
Totally agree.
So no matter what you're told as a youngster, whether someone says you got a gift for something, or you don't, ignore all of that because if you work hard, you can do anything that you want to put your mind to.
Make it right.
That's it. Well, listen, Frank, thanks so much for coming on the show, mate. I
No
absolutely loved having you on.
Thanks
and
for
having you
inviting
chat
me.
about
Cheers,
everything.
boss.
And thanks so
Nice
much
one.
about, talking about the Frank Bruno Foundation.
Cheers. Thank you.
For everyone out there, please check out the Frank Bruno Foundation. And that was a great lesson here, and that's exactly what we're trying to teach on this show. Is all about resilience and what boxing can do for youngsters. Right. So thank you so much for everyone. Thanks for listening, and
Cheers.
Thanks again for listening to Fight on the Inside, and we will see you guys next week.
Okie dokie.